Okay, sorry. You'll never see it because I just deleted it. But the last Scoxford I recorded, I sneezed a couple times during the Scoxford, and I thought, okay, I sneezed. I can keep going. The show must go on, whatever. I went back and reviewed it, which is a very wise thing to do when you're going to post something on the internet. And it was so disgusting sounding. It was like... Somehow, when I'm the one sneezing, I never hear what my sneezes sound like. And then I did. And I wonder if it sounds like that to everyone who's ever heard me sneeze. And no one's told me. And I almost feel like, why has no one told me that my sneezes sound absolutely disgusting? Or maybe it was just this situation with the microphone setup. I don't know. Okay, composure. And I'm back. Yesterday, I went to Old Sarum, which you don't care about, so I'm not going to talk about it. I also went to the Salisbury Cathedral. You don't know about that either, but it's the tallest spire in England. Check that out. You can't read it, but I'll read it to you. I've reached the heights. Salisbury Cathedral. That's me. I did it. I got this pin. Climbed it. Tower. Looked outside on the sledge. It was scary. Anyway, that's Salisbury Cathedral. You haven't heard of that, though. I mean, Salisbury. All you've heard of is Salisbury Steak and Salisbury Hill and that one song that I can't think of the name of. But the highlight of my trip was this. This is Stonehenge. That's right, I went to Stonehenge. Yes, Stonehenge. You're like, oh, Stonehenge is just a pile of rocks. No. No. It's not just a pile of rocks. It is a pile of rocks. It's like 5,000 years old. It's a really old pile of rocks, okay? And I loved it. Thought it was awesome. You get to walk around it. I don't know what else you would really do. They didn't let you walk and like touch the rocks or anything, but they had some examples as you walked in of the two different kinds of rocks. Yeah, there are two different kinds of rocks that are used, like one for these, one for these. And you get to touch them, the two different kinds, and they say that one of them is warmer than the other. I can't remember the names. I have it written down in a notebook here somewhere, but I don't want to dig it up. So we did that. Everyone did that. But it was absolutely freezing cold and extremely windy that day, and so it was just numbingly cold. Okay, yeah. Use the other hand, whatever. Yep, numbingly cold. I cannot distinguish any difference in temperature. So, and there's all these theories about how it was built and who built it, and no one really knows. People say the Druids built it. That's, can't really confirm that. In fact, I think they know for a fact that that's not true. They have lots of evidence. Thanks to carbon dating, yeah. So, anyways, the structure is incredibly old, although not the way that you've seen it now. Things were added, things were taken away. So the structure you see right now is not 5,000 years old. I don't know how old it is. I'm going to throw out 3,000. Hold on, let me say that with confidence so that it seems like I actually know what I'm talking about. The structure itself, as you see it now, is probably not 5,000 years old. In fact, it's probably more like 3,000 years old. So, still very old. Anyways, I thought it was cool. Got lots of pictures. Here's one of my favorites. Okay, so that was Stonehenge, and I loved it. Tonight, we had open mic night, and it was amazing. We have some of the most talented people here, I swear. We had great music, great poetry. We did a Smeagol, Lord of the Rings, hacky sack thing. It was totally unique. He did the Smeagol impression, kind of talking to himself, bantering, that kind of thing, while doing this hacky sack routine that was so amazing. It blew all. We were all just like, whoa. Whoa. And he was doing all these crazy tricks and jumping and moving his legs around, and you couldn't even tell half the time where the hacky sack was when he was really going. I watched a movie called Nora Breaks Free. You can find a preview for it, or from it, right down there somewhere. Click it. Watch it. This movie was amazing. I did something myself too. Some spoken word, with some music in the background to the stylings of the sunscreen song, or Wear Sunscreen, as you might have heard of it, and it was really cool. I thought I spoke kind of words of advice, wisdom, whatever, and at the same time recalled some of the events that we've all experienced together here, and some inside jokes that we have. Had some funny parts that I wanted to put in some humor, but also want to put in some seriousness, and about remember your friends, and remember the people that you're around, because you're not going to be around them for much longer. And it's true. In about 3 weeks' time, all the students that we've been living alongside for the past, 2.5 months are going to be going to different places all across the United States. We have people from the East Coast, the West Coast, Northwest, Midwest, South, Southwest, and even Hawaii. We don't have anyone from Alaska, but, I mean, we've got the entire nation pretty much covered, and we're just going to go spread out across the U.S. Most of us will never see each other again in the flesh. So it's sad, and I wanted to capture the essence of the feeling right now, which is a bittersweet feeling, because we can look back and we can laugh at the fun times that we've had, but at the same time be very sober and contemplative about the fact that we really only have a couple more weeks around each other, and then it's goodbye. Most of us, goodbye for life. And I don't mean to sound melodramatic at all. It reminds me of like senior graduation from high school. Like, oh, goodbye, I'm never going to see you again. But it's not the same. It's a smaller group. It's about 60 students in the program. Many of us live together in the Vines. It's a house of, 45 or so, and the rest live in Crick, and we have tried very hard to bring the two groups together and help the two groups bond and not be two separate parts of the program, but we're really all part of the same program. And I don't know, I saw a lot of people laughing during my presentation, which is what I wanted. I wanted it to be funny, but I also saw a lot of people kind of choking back some tears and a lot of glossy eyed, and it was sad for me, and it also encouraged me to continue performing it, because I saw people laughing with glossy eyes, and I could tell that they were sad, but they were happy at the same time, and it was good. It was a good time. So before I get too mushy on you, let me give a shout out here to everyone who was at open mic night tonight. I know, Scott, you're giving a shout out to multiple people. I can't name one specific person from tonight. I'm just really glad for everyone who performed, and really glad for everyone who watched. At the end of the night, one girl spoke up right before I was closing it down and saying, it's been a great night. Have a safe trip back if you're going to the other house and everything. And earlier in the night, we had tried to do this crazy thing that no one expected and say, art begets art. And so if you're inspired by something that you see tonight in open mic night, we're going to leave some spaces, some opportunities for you to come up and present something, maybe a reaction or whatever to what you've seen. And we did it the first time, and everyone was like, what? We're not used to this. And so no one really wanted to go up and at the risk of embarrassing themselves, perform something. And you don't have to worry too much about embarrassing yourselves. There's a really encouraging crowd, but people were just uncomfortable with it, and so we kind of cut that out. And then we got to the end of the night. One girl said, I've been inspired, or whatever. She was kind of making, she said, I really want to present something. So we're like, yeah, come on up. She came up, and she presented a song, just a cappella. It was really quiet. You could just hear the song, and it captured the feeling of saying goodbye to everyone and leaving. So, sad story, and it was a good night.